Welcome to Rooster Radio, a broadcast dedicated to supporting and promoting local artists in the Gaston County and surrounding areas.
What's up, everybody? We have a very, very heavy schedule coming here at the end of October, so I wanted to take a moment and talk for a minute about all of the upcoming events we have. Starting this Saturday, the 18th, we are going to be participating in the DTG Fall Bar Crawl with the other watering holes here in downtown Gastonia. There will be punch cards at Dirty Bull. Well, we'll all have punch cards, but you want to start down at Dirty Bull, make your way through all the bars, and then come back here after you get your cards punched. You can turn in your card at your last stop. We're going to do drawings for prizes the following week, but we have a free show that night featuring Hindsight Hero, Mechanical Boulevard, and Gypsy Caravans. This is going to be a really fun night. People will be in and out all night, but go hit all the stops, come back, hang out. Looking ahead, on Thursday, the 23rd of October, it is 3NT Productions and Halo Touring presents the Dope Nobody Tour, featuring Grizzly and Young Ched, the Backpack Kid and Silent Avenue. They're all touring together. These are all up-and-coming pop/hip-hop artists that are all getting a lot of heat. A lot of people are getting into what they're doing, and they're going on tour together. So there's going to be a fun show. We got local support on that one as well. And then the very next night, the 24th, is our Elvis Meets the Beatles show. Got an Elvis tribute, got a Beatles tribute, playing back-to-back. It's going to be a really fun time for that one. And then the very next day, on the 25th, is our 7th Annual Carolina Headbangers Ball. That's the episode you're about to watch. We'll be talking to AJ here in just a few minutes, and we'll talk all about what's going on at the Headbangers Ball later on in the podcast. Keep going. Tuesday, the 28th. Big shout out to Sunflower and Mad Hatter for bringing the Talk is Cheap tour to the Rooster. It's Fight From Within from upstate New York. This is a hardcore band. This is a heavy show. They're making a lot of noise as well. They're becoming really popular. They're touring with a couple other New England bands, and we've got local support from Detest the Throne, and our buddies in Screwed Ends will also be on that show. That's Tuesday the 28th. 2 days later, on the 30th of October, we've got Crack a Smile's Halloween Sideshow featuring Enough's Enough, Testarossa, and Prowess. Very, very excited about that. Testarossa, it's been a minute since they've been in the building, so I'm very excited to get those guys back. And having Enough's Enough here in downtown Gastonia, it's a pretty big deal for us, so we're excited about that as well. And then the official holiday Halloween is Friday, the 31st of October. We're hosting Shocktober. Big shout out to Shell Shock Productions for this one. It's a trap metal, trap rap show. Long list of performers doing short sets. We're doing a Halloween costume contest with a $100 grand prize for that. So come ready to win some money and ready to drink and have a good time and party with us for Halloween. And then the very next night, the beginning of November, the 1st, we have House of Hairs coming back for the first time in over a year, playing all of your favorite 80s hair metal hits with special guest Bona Lisa, good friends of the Rooster. We haven't seen them in quite some time, so we're excited to get Bona Lisa back in here. But House of Hairs on the 1st. And then that Sunday, November 2nd, shout out to my man King Rash and Rash Media for bringing Cottonmouth Kings to the Rooster in downtown Gastonia with Head Trauma, Phase God, King Rash, and more. We have a very, very exciting. The week of Halloween is going to be nuts. So whatever your work schedule is, we got a show for you. Whatever you're into, we got a show for you. We're really excited, and we hope to see you all here at the Rooster in downtown Gastonia at 334 West Main. Peace and love. Some people like to be part of the show. Some people like to go somewhere and be able to be part of it, and those are opportunities. They're few and far between. So yeah, I'd be open to that.
Yeah.
Speaking of awesome opportunities, This is our annual Carolina Headbangers Ball episode of the podcast. Everybody say hey to AJ. AJ say hey to the crowd. Everybody knows who this man is by now, and if you don't, this is the curator, the brainchild, the mastermind behind Carolina Headbangers, which started as a social media group and has turned into a full-on community with booking your own shows. Have been for a few years. We've done a lot of Carolina Headbanger events here, and we are hosting this year's 7th annual Carolina Headbangers Ball. I can't thank you enough for continuing to work with me and host these things here. Like I said, there's a myriad of places that you could go and do this thing. And, you started it in the backyard, and it makes me feel proud that we're able to continue to work with you and do this. And specifically, this year's lineup is just stupid good.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I'm excited for this year's, probably more so than the first year we did it, because it was our very first weekend open, which, by the way, for those who don't know, the first Headbangers Ball that was held here was our very first week open. It was our introduction to the community, which was very, very exciting for us. So we're going to be celebrating our third anniversary as well at this show.
It is, it is something that started in the backyard of about maybe 5 miles from here. So we had a plywood board and some, that's about it. There might have been like a lighting rack or something, but there wasn't a whole lot to it. Kegs, stuff like that. And it was very DIY, and it just, so to carry that tradition on, and to have a place that we know that we can lock the doors if the cops show up, that's a good thing, Like,
I think we should bring back the grilled chicken, because I do miss the grilled chicken.
The grilled chicken was good,
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, man. There's certain people, not many of them, got the Speedies or whatever they're called. It's a New York thing, but those were great. And then we had the kegs, and it was always one of those crazy things. You didn't know what was going to happen. Tyler from Haymaker, the one year, he married a couple out there. Yep. I don't know their names. I wish I did. I haven't seen them since, so hopefully things are still going good. And I remember the one year, there was no fence to this backyard, so the ice cream truck was down in the road. And literally, someone told him just to make a hard left, and go straight up the hill into the backyard. And so I
actually remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I look over, and this ice cream truck's just pulling right up in the middle of everything. And it was always very cool and exciting. And and we've had some great, there's been some really great shows here. With Land Day a couple years ago, and then last year with the Test of Throne and stuff like that. And it's always, it's been about a community and just keeping it to the Carolinas, and sometimes that extends out to other states as well. But, to kind of give people a good snapshot of what's going on in their backyard, Yeah,
and that's a great segue to start talking about the lineup, because this year's lineup, it's a showcase. It's a showcase of heavy metal and hardcore bands in the area. But what I think is absolutely beautiful about this year's lineup is that we discussed kind of stepping out of the comfort zone and bringing on a couple of bands that are kind of outside of the hardcore. We've got one band on here that's really, really a punk band. And, we've got another band on here that's couple actually that are more hard rock than they are heavy metal.
Yeah.
And that's really appealing to me, like that we're going to kind of mix it up. Because, you can get fatigued with just hardcore all day. Some people can, but this gives people a reason to stick around that might, otherwise only be here for one band. Well, now you've got a few different options.
Well, and to give different, it's this people this age might like this, and people this age might, younger age might like this, and I think there's a little bit of everything. But also to kind of change it up, there's lots of core shows. Trust me, there's lots of great, amazing hardcore shows going on, and this has got a little bit of that. So, and there's also bands that have been around in the scene that I've wanted to work with for years that I just haven't quite got the chance. Chronic Disorder being one of them. I go back with Brad a long time when he was in a band called Black Ritual. That was really my introduction to the Charlotte metal scene, and those guys were just all amazing. Rest in peace, Jody and Eddie. and without those guys and their love, Headbangers might not be where it was at. You know, they gave us a lot of opportunities, first interviews, stuff like that. So to have Brad and his new band on here, and something Gary Rackley also I mentioned, he was also part of for I think maybe a short time in the very beginning. But to have Brad's band on the lineup is amazing. You know, it's fun.
That was actually I worked really hard to get Chronic Disorder. I really wanted Chronic Disorder to be part of this year's Headbangers Ball. So he was getting it from you and me both, like messages about being a part of this year's Headbangers Ball. And Chip is the one that I talked to more than anybody.
Yes, yeah.
And I was really on Chip, and I think he really lobbied the rest of the band to be like jump on this show.
Yeah. I actually saw Chip out at Judas Priest. Now that you mentioned it, and,
he'll pop in here every now and then
for it.
Yeah, he was here a couple weeks ago for a show.
Yeah. You know, and I mean, so and that that I think with this year's lineup too, we brought a good number of new bands that may have not even played here yet, but. Also,
there's a couple. We can just go through the list.
We'll
give I want to make sure we give everybody a little love.
Yeah.
Let me start by saying there's a cool addition to this year's Headbangers Ball with Cyanide Circus.
So it used to be the Cyanide Freak Show, and they rebranded earlier this year to the Cyanide Circus, but. And they played some shows in some of our April Bleeding Hearts Ball shows, but in this case, we've always tried to get them around Halloween, and they're usually tied into different haunts in South Carolina and stuff like that. And this year, they had an open weekend, so I'm so glad to have them a part of it. And everything from fire breathing to hanging from your skin.
Yeah, the suspension hooks. I mean, I can't get you. They've done it a few times.
Some of it's hard
here,
to watch, and
I can't get used to it, but it's awesome. They do the fire dancing stuff out back, which is really cool. Walking on glass and laying on nails and all the
fire.
Yeah,
like the fire.
Yeah, there's like the fire, and it's always it gives such a cool element to it. I think and they have such a cool show they have put together and the last couple of years, they're playing in New Jersey and just all over the place with taking this thing. And so I love to have that. I love to have it's something outside of just you come to see bands or stuff like that. It's like, well, you're not going to necessarily see this unless you go to one of their shows or something. But to bring those two worlds together.
Well, I can guarantee you're not going to see this in Gastonia anywhere else.
No, I don't think so.
No one's doing freak show stuff in Gastonia.
And really, Charlotte, no, I don't think there's nothing there either. But
and then, all right, so you're going to get a chance to see the freak show, but we also, as far as bands go, one of the probably newest bands on the lineup would be Nosen.
Great band, made up of former members of Alpha Strain and Collective Insanity.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, even the guitar player in one of my bands played there for a little bit as well. And they've got a new EP coming out, and just very exciting. If you're into hardcore punk,
they're a real fun watch. They played here. Yeah. They played here this past summer for the first time. It was my first time seeing them, and just great stage presence. Braden is such a great front man. I don't think he gets enough credit for how entertaining and how hard he works.
I don't think he does.
He's very versatile, in what he does, and even with the rap stuff and the just different genres. He's very. I guess he's made his own path with it, and
for sure,
it's very unique.
Yeah, I mean, he DJs, he raps, he's in hardcore bands, he's in punk bands. He's just nonstop.
But then when you talk to him in person, you're like, I don't believe he's in all that. You're like, what?
Yeah, he does. He definitely doesn't come off with that.
If he gets a few
if
he gets a few drinks in him, you want to slap him, he'll let you slap him.
Oh, look,
or you can get him in the ring.
Yeah, he'll
get him in the ring.
He has no issue with that. And then and it'll be my first time seeing him too. I missed. They had one here, and then they had one at the Milestone, and I just sadly missed those shows. But it's another good thing too. Sometimes I get bands that I haven't seen. It's rare, but they're definitely one of them that I've wanted to, and I'm excited for them to really kick things off. Tell people I just get here, stay the whole day,
Yeah,
you know?
just come hang out. We're gonna have a food truck out back doing barbecue. So we'll have food. We'll have a couple of vendors. Yeah.
Happy Smoke Barbecue, and some of the vendors I've seen so far too are great. It's a lot of friends I've made over the years and stuff in the scene, and lots of cool like Halloween crafts and just different things that they have, and it's also a way for them to express their own creative individuality. So I'm stoked for that, and stoked for people to check out what they have as well.
There's a couple of bands on here that I actually was not familiar with until you put them on this lineup. So tell me a little bit about Red Letter Philosophy.
They might actually be a little outside of the Carolinas here in Virginia there, but they reached out to me. I haven't seen them yet, and very like kind of metalcore-ish, I guess you could say.
Like early 2000s?
Deathcore, yeah, a little deathcore-ish. I don't know really where exactly it falls, but from what I've heard, it's great. They're, I think the guy Bradley I've talked to, he's a super nice guy, and they want to come put on just a kick-ass show.
They've been pretty active in the chat too about.
They have, and it's that's exciting, and to have that too, because. And you get that a lot of times, but sometimes you don't. And, it's nice to have that bands are excited and they can't wait to like show this Gastonia crowd what they can do, And I think they'll fit right in, I mean, it's, like I said, I've heard it. It's good. It's really good,
Right on. We're going to keep moving because I want to shout out to our homies in Vehement.
Yeah.
Another one of these Shelby hardcore bands. Love these kids. Vehement's former members of Fear Illusion and
Multiple other
about
bands.
13 other bands that you've seen come out of Shelby, but they keep mixing it up to find the right formula for the creative.
Shelby's
they're
Shelby's very own Audio Slave. But but no, they're a super group of really cool kids, man. And I believe I had them last year, the year before. They've changed the lineup a little bit slightly. I think their singer at that time was the guy who sings with I think he sings in Alpha Strain now, but
Mason.
and then Nathan took on lead vocals. Cool story. Nathan dates my girlfriend's daughter's.
Okay, I wasn't going to bring it up.
But I just throw it out there, Embarrass
That's
Nathan,
funny.
put him on the spot. But
it's been fun to watch Nathan progress because the first time I saw him, he was in one of the other bands, and you could see he had it in him. Like he was, the first couple times I saw him play, he seemed really, really focused on his guitars and just you're trying to not screw up basically. And it's been fun over the last few years to watch him progress as an artist to where now he is fully confident on that stage.
He is.
And he's singing now instead of just playing. And he's one of my favorite kids to watch grow in this scene.
Well, it is, and it's so cool to see the younger kids get into it, and then they get to where they eventually as old as us, but the thing is that it brings a lot of excitement to it, and what they do is their music's great, so it's for me it's we definitely gonna put them on the lineup, and
they're homies.
It is,
Yeah,
and I mean, so it's Thanksgiving and on the holidays, Nathan's my lifeline, So it's we're the two odd men out, at the dinner table. So of course, I'm more than glad to have him part of it, and I'm glad for people to check their band out too.
Yeah.
I mean, Shelby's not just right around the corner here, so.
Yeah, right down the street. This is another band that I wasn't familiar with till we got them on the lineup, and that's Attracting the Fall.
Attracting the Fall. Okay. So they are metalcore. They're out of Raleigh. Outside of music, I haven't seen them yet, but I'm excited too. I've seen they're playing a lot of shows. They've been picking up a lot of steam this past year with in the Raleigh scene, and some of the bands that I've known out of Raleigh. We at the Bleeding Hearts Ball, we recently had Lucernia Row, stuff like that. So I know that Raleigh scene's fucking. They're together.
It's a tough place to be to do hardcore too.
It is.
It really
It
is.
is.
you may or may not know this if you're listening or watching, but like Raleigh, 20 years ago, Raleigh was just this boiling point of like live music. There were so many places to go see and play live music in that area in the mid 2000s. And then over the course of the last 20 years, those places have really dried up, and there's just not a lot of places in Raleigh that are doing metal.
Yeah.
You know, and so to see some of these metal bands, War is another one they've gotten real big at this point.
They were.
They're coming out of Raleigh.
They were one of the first bands, actually the very first band of the very first Carolina Headbangers Ball.
Really?
Yeah, and it was just on a chance meeting that I met their guitar player Ben at Epicenter. And he was telling me about his music, and I was like, yeah, of course, like I'll check it out, and checked it out, and it was great, and still, stayed friends with them on Facebook and stuff like that over the years, and they're doing great things, I've seen stuff where they're working with, producers, people from Seven Dust, different things like that over the years and stuff, and and Raleigh has a lot of good things, and sometimes it's kind of tough to, you don't. For some reason, it seems like you'd have those bands come down more often, because...
Oh, they love us in Raleigh. The hard rock and metal bands, they love, because there's just not a lot of places for them to play in North Carolina.
That's it. And, for them to come down and, and like I said, it's very hard. It's very metalcore, deathcore again. And I think people really, really will enjoy it, It's something that I'm super excited to see,
Another change of pace band is Hellfire 76. Yes, I'm so happy they're on this lineup.
Yeah.
Shout out to the homies, Jarrett and Mike. So excited that they're on this. Here's the thing about Hellfire 76. I think they've been voted best in the Nest or Queen City.
They were.
They've won awards
have.
for how good they are. And they're just a hard rock band. They're a two-piece. At times, they'll bring in a bass player, a third member sometimes. But the first time I saw them here, my takeaway was I cannot believe that much sound came out of two guys.
Yeah.
I was like, how are they doing this?
How?
It was incredible. And their great stage presence. Jarrett uses every single inch of that stage during his performance. He is so fun to watch play. Mike's back there just killing it on that big ass kid of his. And they've played a lot of shows here, but they are always on bills with just like straight rock or indie shows. So we've yet to fill the room for Hellfire 76, and I am just thrilled to fill the room for these guys.
Yeah, man. It's one of those bands that I've actually tried for a couple years to get on something, and it just never really, I don't feel like I ever had the right lineup or the right thing for them to be a part of, and so I'm glad to have them. I saw them back recently with a band called Calabrese, which is I guess you could say like a Danzig-esque band. And if I had to compare it to something, it's very, it gives me a Crows of conformities. There's a very Louisiana of metal vibe to that,
Yeah, very, very much Cajun metal vibes.
Yeah.
But to see it's such a big sound, and it's very original in what they do, and I don't think there's another band really, like I say, that's in the scene right now currently that sounds like them.
There's not. There's not that I've seen.
Yeah.
They're very, very, they are a standout band for sure.
Yeah, I think so,
definitely
All right, moving along. Let's start. We're right about halfway through the lineup, so let's talk because about halfway through the day, you're going to have an opportunity. We talked about it a little bit earlier. We lost. Everyone took a major hit this year with the passing of Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
And, I had flirted with the idea of doing some sort of Ozzy tribute. At the time, like right when it happened, it just felt like I needed some time to get there. And then you and I started talking about this year's Headbangers Ball. And this is the perfect opportunity to pay tribute to the godfather of metal himself. So
I think so. I think so, and I think that, like there's so many of us that we just wouldn't be here. We wouldn't. Maybe we would be here in some kind of capacity, but it's literally a band like Black Sabbath was birth metal, and Ozzy was the epitome of all those things, of rock and roll, of metal. I would almost say for our generation, like that, he was our Elvis. Like maybe to our parents' generation or grandparents' generation.
That's actually a really good comparison. I was going to say he was like everyone's dad.
Yeah,
Us all growing up.
I think I think everyone felt that, and even I watched some of those documentaries on him, that came out this past week and stuff like that. And those are tough to watch, There's a lot of parallels with what was going on with him, that I had with my grandparents, stuff like that. And, with Ozzy, though, it always, at least in my, like, childhood and growing up, it always kind of, like, it would always come up, Like, there was never anything bad said about it. Everyone always had a lot of love for Ozzy. And, of course, Sharon and the whole Osbourne family as well, That was a big thing when I was a kid, the Osbourne show.
Technically 3 separate generations got to experience the life of Ozzy Osbourne. That you had the youth in the 70s when, Black Sabbath came along, right? They all had kids that are our age. And we got to grow up with all of Ozzy's music, and then kind of like the second wave after Randy Rhoads passed.
Yeah,
we got that second wave of Ozzy, and then there was a whole other generation that got to grow up watching him on TV.
Well, that's it. And
with the Osbourne show.
Really don't think. I mean, this is out of any of the pop stars that you've had over the years, the Madonnas, whoever it may be. I don't think there's really an artist that was able to carry themselves through 5 generations, or 50 years of music, and to always, and not even really reinvent themselves, just be true to who they are.
I think the world kept changing and he stayed the same, and so that he kept doing the thing that he always does, and it always felt new and different because the world around him kept changing and he did not.
And that's it. And it was new and different for him. And, but the thing is he stayed true to who he was. And I think that people can relate with that, And at the end of the day, Ozzy he was a guy, he was a famous guy, but he felt like he could just be any one of us, and
he never let it seemed like he never let all of the insanity of being that famous change who he was or get to his head. He always
seemed when they brought cameras in his home.
Yeah, they brought cameras in home, and he was the most humble person in that family.
He was still the same person. He wasn't trying to be anyone else, and I don't think he knew how to be anyone else except for himself, And for us to do a tribute, so me and the guys, and we started a couple years ago, we did a Danzig Misfits tribute, and the opportunity kind of, it was just random. I threw it out there one day. I was like, why don't we try to maybe do an Ozzy tribute, and believe it or not, like, Ozzy's it's not as easy to imitate or to do a tribute to as people would think, Like, yeah, the songs are very recognizable and been heard a lot, but it's very unique in its own, thing. And to do it justice, I mean, I hope we do. I have, we're digging hard, so we're going to do.
Well, chances are everyone's going to be singing along loud enough to where it won't matter.
That's what, that's what we're hoping,
It's midday. Yeah. They're probably going to be drunk, and it'll be perfect.
Well, that's it. And, and if we got to have PJ turn down the vocals a little bit, that's okay too. So, but I think it's a good chance for that and for just our local scene to give tribute to,
It is the metalheads of the Carolinas. Yeah. This is the Headbangers Ball. This is the thing. This is how we're going to pay tribute and, so to speak, lay them to rest for us.
Well, that's it. If there's ever a perfect time, I think it's now. And I think that it's been a few months, and it's still, it's one of those people I think I'll always miss, just like with the Chris Cornells or the Scott Weilands or even the Lemmys or David Bowies or whoever it might be, Prince. It's these iconic people that I'm grateful that we were around during the time they were. Like that's
absolutely.
It's such a cool thing. And one day, like that Taylor Swift is like that for people. Like
that's
that.
True,
it means so much to people that their music saved people's lives. And I think Ozzy's one of those people. I would no doubtedly say that I've got many memories in my high school and teenage years of listening to Ozzy or my dad buying his CDs or, and hearing stuff like Diary of the Madman or Over the Mountain or different songs over the years or even like, just getting I'm reluctant to say this, getting stoned to the bone, listening to Black Sabbath, it's such a great thing, you know, and I think, you know, it was a turning point. I would hope that it's not a closing of a chapter, but it kind of felt like that, you know. It's like this was one of the biggest icons in metal, you know, and I think he went out perfect. You know, I think there wasn't a living wake.
True Ozzy fashion.
Yeah, you know, and I think that was very bittersweet.
I read a story not too long ago that, you know, he was on a lot of medication for the conditions he was suffering from, and leading up to the show, the last 2 weeks before the show, he quit taking all of his medications so that he could be as clear-headed as possible for that last show. He knew what he was doing. And he was not going to let us down.
You know, and I think that it's a testament to the human will of I think once you stop having something to live for, then that's when we go. You know, I in my personal experiences, I remember my aunt. She passed away in 2019, and she literally, like, her statement was, I hope I make it through the holidays. I pray I make it through the holidays. And she passed January 2nd. So she made it through every single holiday.
Yeah, she did.
You know, and then that night of January 2nd, you know, first going to the second there, she passed away. And I think that, you know, there's the human will and then also the music, you know. I think Ozzy at 76, you know, you probably could have asked him at the time. He didn't feel 76. He felt like he was probably still 25, you know, and the music keeps us young and vital, and it gave him something to work towards. And I think, you know, he put it all into it, but that's just like, it's a testament to how much his fans meant to him. He thanked them repeatedly for the life that he has. You know, he wasn't, I don't think, oblivious to, like, well, without them, he knew, like, without these fans, I wouldn't have these mansions or this nice domesticated life. And, you know, and for us to, like, give a tribute back to it, I think it's a great thing, you know, and it's something I'm really excited about, and I think it's gonna do good.
Yeah,
I mean, I think there's the love there for the music, and it's gonna be tunes that people know and just love, and so I'm really excited for it. I'm nervous, but excited.
You'll be fine. Trust me. Everyone in this place will be into it. So, yeah, make sure you get here early for the Headbangers Ball so you can see that Ozzy tribute. And we're going to keep moving because we still have a handful of bands we got to get to. Next on the list is Razorgrave. Now, this is ex-members of Neverfall, your favorite thrash metal band in the Carolinas.
Yes.
I mean, it's, you know, I really always hesitate to use the word best, you know, because I deal with so many different artists, but they are the best thrash metal band. They are. There's no one doing it better than Razorgrave is.
They are, and you know, this is the first time as Razorgrave that I've at least had them on a lineup. You know, it's been probably 3 or 4 years since I've had them on as Neverfall, but they're out of Greenville, South Carolina. And really, they're such. I mean, these guys have been playing together now for like 12 years, and they're still like.
They're locked in.
Yeah, they're locked in. Still relatively young guys, and they sync so well together, and they're such a tight band. You know, it's one of those bands you'll go see, and it's like they're not missing notes, they're not fumbling lyrics, there's none of that going on. It's very professional sounding. It's a fucking shame that a lot more people don't know about them, you know. And I think if they ever make that plunge, and I mean, which I believe they will, to go out and just take that across the fucking country. Take the show on the road.
Yeah, I mean, they really are a throwback to, you know, our childhood. You know, those old school.
It really is, man, and it gives it a fresh, rejuvenating sound. You know, like they just have such a passion for it and what they do. You know.
And we finally got this name spelled right on the flyer. Outlier.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
Outlier with an A, not an E.
I was trying to find them when I was setting up the ticket.
That's my fault, totally.
Yeah, when I was setting up the ticket link for the Headbangers Ball this year, I always link the bands on our website Like
Yeah.
when you go to buy a ticket, you can click on the name of the band to go to their website or their social media. And I was having the damnedest time trying to find this band Outlier.
Well, there's an Outlier with like a V or something.
Yeah,
And
there
they're
was like a V in there.
Newer band, and and these guys also, undoubtedly, if we put them, I put them in the same class as Razor Grave. There, a killer thrash metal band. A couple, I believe Ray Outlier with an A. I believe he played in False Prophet, which has been around for about 30 years in the scene, and they're another band out of Raleigh, and a band that I personally haven't seen since they opened for Obituary 2019, Cat's Cradle, but I've managed to keep like a fairly, another internet friendship, I guess there, and super fucking excited to get them down. As far as I know, it's been a long time since they've been down this way. And
it's definitely going to be their first time here.
Yeah, and I think it's undoubtedly a band that people are going to fucking really enjoy too, man. I can say that I enjoyed them enough. I bought a signed poster at the time and some CDs and stuff like that. So I at least that first impression was good enough to hold me through 6 years and be like, okay, yeah, let's get y'all.
These guys down here.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Next band on the list is by far my favorite band name on this, Chaos Among Cattle.
Ooh.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
I get images of like on a farm with, bulls just going at it, and
it's kind of like that.
Yeah, like a bull mosh pit, terrorizing the dog, and
It is. It is a 5-piece that gives off the sounds of two bulls going at it rapidly, hot and heavy. But they're another one, and I would say, like, if I had to compare it, like, slightly, strangely, slightly like the Asheville version of Haymaker. Fucking cool guys, and during COVID and stuff like that, like they had played down here at the Milestone, different places and stuff, and it's been a long time since I've seen them, but they kind of gotten things going back the last couple of years again, and it's something I've tried for a few years in a row, and it just didn't quite work out. So this year it's on.
It's a big boy metal.
It's a crushing 5-piece. It's fucking heavy.
Yeah.
It's very heavy.
This is the one you get you get a workout in the mosh pit with these guys.
It is, man, and it's one of those bands that I love for people to see. I mean, like, if you're into the deathcore and you're into the you'll love it. It's crushing. It's heavy, and they're all talented.
Three more bands to talk about here, and we've already kind of given some love to our homies in Chronic Disorder, and I'm gonna call them out on the podcast. And me and you both were working on them, right? And I was talking with Chip, you were talking with Brad, and the consensus was we want to do it, but you got to get us on by 8:00. They said we don't want to play late.
And I understand that.
I mean, it's chronic
They were
disorder.
like, they were like, we're
a
not
long day.
headlining. We're old.
I started working about 6 months ago. I started working like the regular, 8 to 5, 40-hour job, and I'm like, 10:00 is late. Before I was doing Uber Eats or whatever, I was like, I'm out all night long and carousing and all that good shit. And they're another killer, just old school, old school hardcore, but old school thrash. Like, I'd say, like, they kind of fall within that. I wouldn't just want to say thrash. I'd say they fall
they
in
don't
that
really
crossover.
sound like anybody. Like,
No,
they really don't.
Very original, very seasoned musicians. They played in, we mentioned Black Ritual, and some of their other bands prior. And honestly, and with Brad, he's coming back from this, like, he had some back surgery recently, and so someone I've also tried to get on a couple, maybe last year's lineup and the one before, and it just hadn't quite worked out, And so this year, like, they're excited, we're excited, and I know they're a local favorite around here, so it's something.
They play here a couple times, and every time they're here, they really bring a
That's
crowd.
a really great crowd. I think the last one was Annabelle Lee.
That's the thing. The crowd they bring is a great crowd. They're like fun, just really fun people to be around.
They're fucking. They're metalheads, and that's it's great to see.
Haymaker. Shout out. I got the shirt on, boys.
5150.
We love them. Haymaker is the same band that played the roof of the Rooster back in September of last year.
We did our first 2-part episode on the podcast.
They did.
They did, yes. We had to make their episode 2 parts. That second part got a little sloppy.
It was such a good podcast.
fun.
But it was, a lot of fun.
It was really
good. Yeah.
You know, I watched a good bit of them, but
They make history, boy. They're all
they are, you know, to me, still to this day, one of the most exciting live bands. Like, I've never seen a bad live show from them, you know, and I've seen a lot of them. I've seen ones that weren't as good, you know, like maybe certain members were a little too drunk.
Yeah.
Maybe certain drummers pass out, Josh. But the thing is that every time they bring the energy, and there's just something. There's something about it. They're something
special, man.
The originality of it
they're
all.
special.
The songs like White Claw, 5150. The titles are even. You know, it's not like the dismemberment of fucking whatever. They have these very fun party type of songs.
just beer
almost,
drinking,
you know?
hell raising, good old fashioned heavy metal.
Yeah.
Party heavy metal is what it is.
Party metal, man. These guys are a
the
lot
epitome
of fun.
of what Gastonia is, and they
Yeah.
you know, and without those guys, you know, there probably wouldn't have maybe been a Headbangers Ball in the beginning, you know, without Tyler Wright and of course Ryan, the house that we did it at. They did a lot of organizing and stuff in the beginning, and just really made all the difference. You know, I remember seeing them back in these little tiny. There's a place called Kagan Q in Charlotte and stuff like that, and these different little clubs, and and then it's definitely a band that we built the first couple of Headbangers Balls with them, and it's such a fucking awesome thing to have them back. Because for me, they were such a big part of it, and just a band that I think everybody enjoys.
Haymaker is synonymous with heavy metal in Gastonia. They are the Gastonia heavy metal band.
I think so. And I think that
I think it's to go for the whole county too.
They've come back this second time. They took a little bit of a break there.
Mm-hmm.
And,
a couple of them had different projects, had personal stuff, blah blah blah. But they came back together. I mean, we talked about it on their episode of the podcast about how they kind of needed that little bit of a break, and then they needed to come back together.
It was, because I think a certain thing, I think we all have gotten to points of burnout and stuff like that, and and then sometimes you just need to step away from it to kind of get a better view of what's going on in the situation. And they've come back and really, I know they're working on new music. I've seen they've got another guitarist they brought in for some stuff.
They showed up to a show a couple weeks ago here and introduced me to their new guitarist. Josh could barely walk. Those guys, I got to meet him. He seemed like a really cool dude.
Yeah, man.
I didn't get a chance to because Josh was the miss.
You babysitting Josh?
Well,
we love you, brother.
Josh
found me so I could babysit him.
Josh is such a good guy and one of my favorite drummers, man, and like a guy that over the years I've got the chance to sit next to his drum set on stage, and
me too. Really, and the band that's given me my first opportunities, just like we were earlier before the podcast, we were talking about karaoke and stuff like that, and I got up and did break stuff with them in the backyard, and it was a big barrier. It was a big thing for me because I broke that. What if everyone thinks it sucks or whatever? And now I'm at a point where I'm like, well, they like me enough they won't tell me the truth. So or at least that's what I hope. Well, I mean, or you could kind of shift the perception to be like, we're doing we're a community, we're family, we're having a good time.
And it never felt like it was like, well, they're just doing this to do this or for views on Facebook. It was more like just a way of us getting up and just having one, I think remember the one time John from the Test the Throne and different people had came up and joined us, and even my buddy Nathan, who's not in any band, and he can sing a little bit, but he jumped up there too. It's like, dude, it doesn't matter if you can or you can't do something. As long as you have the love and the passion to do it, I think that can carry you a lot farther. It
transcends whether or not you sing well.
Yeah.
Everyone's there. It's more about the vibe than it is,
you're having a good time, and I think that the energy of all that can transcend to everyone,
Do you think the headliner for this year would get as upset with you as Atlanta Day did if we don't talk about them?
Well, Atlanta Day was the of the fifth Carolina Headbangers Ball, and we did mention them that year somehow. Somehow we didn't mention the headliner. We mentioned all other 11 bands that year, but we didn't mention Atlanta Day, which they have a show October 31st. Check them out. But Joey Park, he also is a great producer. He produces Haymaker, so check out Joey Park Productions.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures recently of him in the studio with him. But no, that leads us to the headliner of the night.
Witch Pit.
But yes, I am so excited to get these guys back in here. They played here for the first time on. They opened for one of these touring bands that we had here. Mm-hmm. I had heard about them. I had listened to their music. I had no idea how good they were live. And immediately before they left that night, I was talking to those guys like, I really want to get you back. We started talking about this year. I lobbied for Witch Pit. And
yeah, you did. I witnessed that call.
Yeah, thank you so much, Witch Pit, for jumping on and headlining this show.
And it was such a it's a band that I haven't got to work with yet, but I've known at least one of the members. I've known Jesse Lane for years. He's tied in with he's good friends with Ron he plays in with a band with Ron from Blackwater Drowning, and I've just known Jesse, he grew up right across the street from me, so right I worked at a pizza place called Teddy's Pizza, and he was literally getting fired the day I was getting hired, and then maybe a couple years later we talked about it and stuff like that, and we eventually became pretty good friends, and have gone to some shows and stuff since, and very a very supportive person, and I've seen his cover band Action Jackson many times, they play in the Mid-Hill area, Pineville, stuff like that. And great, by the way, a great cover band if you want to see a good mix of hard rock and metal and stuff. Everything from Megadeth to Billy Idol to Ozzy to
Action
all
Jackson?
stuff. Yeah. Very, very, very cool group, man. It's Jackie. She's a very awesome singer. And their drummer, strangely enough, we're talking about a band, by the way, that's not on the lineup, so don't get excited. But their drummer was original drummer for Wednesday 13.
Oh, okay.
So Eric, Eric, Jackie, they're great bartenders out in the Mid-Hill area, and just people I grew up with in my little small town there. So, but to have Jesse and his band out here, I'm super stoked. I don't know really quite how to describe the sound.
Yeah, I'm struggling to put my finger on it too, because the word that comes to mind is versatile.
Yeah.
They're very versatile, because they don't just do one thing.
Yeah, I couldn't put them in one genre. I know there's some doom, but there's also some harsh vocals. Mm-hmm. There's also some really heavy. I mean,
if you're gonna put something, I would say stoner metal, because they definitely have a stoner vibe, but they just do more than that.
Yeah,
it's a slight more of an edge to it. To where the typical stoner. Yeah, I would say that's a fair assessment. And it's a band that I think that hopefully people will come check out. They've been doing some really big shows recently. There's a band King Parrot that was on tour with Pantera and Armand Amoth. They opened for them in South Carolina. They've got a couple other headlining Doomfest and stuff like that. But this is your chance to come see them headlining the Carolina Headbangers Ball October 25th in Gastonia, North Carolina. Doors 1. Show at 2 p.m. Tickets $20 in advance, $25 at day of. But if you have a costume on,
it's $5 off.
Yeah, $5 off. And I think we don't ever I haven't mentioned it online at least, but it's a family event as much as we can keep it a family event. Sometimes we're not 100% responsible for things that are said on stage, but bring the kids. There's plenty of fun activities, and you don't have to worry about the stress of having a babysitter and then having a bar tab.
Yeah, we are all ages. We have earbuds, earplugs rather. We have earplugs. They're $1 at the bar if you want to buy a pair of earplugs.
Kids 13 and under free.
13 and under free.
That's fair.
Like you said, 25 at the door. You can go ahead and get them online for 20. And by the way, where else can you get this much awesome hard rock and heavy metal for $20?
Right.
Yeah, you get
saying that's less than you're paying to go see 3 bands at a big venue.
What's it? 10 bands, a freak show, and an Ozzy Osbourne tribute.
And you can bring the kids.
Vendors. You've got food truck, the Happy Smoke barbecue food truck. Shout out to Jeremy. So you have, it's a community thing, and I think that that Halloween costumes, we're gonna have contests. We're always gonna have contests. Everything from we'll probably do a couple of different things this year.
I'm throwing in a 4-pack of tickets to a future show for one of the prizes.
Yeah, and I think
we'll
this year we'll
merch.
if the kids dress up, we'll have something special for them. We'll have like maybe a band merch package for another thing, and maybe we'll do a couples contest or something like that. But we'll have something very cool, that way everyone can, has a good chance at it. Not just Scott Callahan.
Right.
Because
You said couples contest.
if you
That's
don't dress
exactly
up,
what I
Scott
thought.
Callahan and Sharon are going to win.
Yeah,
and
they are.
Yeah.
They will.
So, per usual, the goal is to beat Scott and Sharon.
Yeah.
I feel like I've said this a couple times on the podcast.
I think you have.
They always have something awesome, and I never know what it's going to be.
I was talking to my wife last week because we're trying to figure out, a couple's costume for us. And I just threw it out there the other day. I said, what if we dressed up as Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce?
That's a good one.
It's a great idea. But without missing a beat, Christy goes, I don't like Taylor Swift. And I was like, that's not what I'm asking.
That's not about, yeah.
It's like, I'm not a Chiefs fan. Like, I'm just trying to throw idea. Okay. I'm sorry.
I
brought
get
it
that.
up.
So I was doing the
I love
Ozzy
her
thing.
so much.
And I'm really, really trying to talk my girlfriend Winter into doing Sharon Osbourne. I was like, it'll only make sense if I do Ozzy, if you do Sharon. She's like,
yeah.
well, what do you got to do? I said, like, all you got to do is just dress the same you would normally, and then wear a purple wig. That's it.
short
I'm not
little
asking a
red
lot.
wig,
You
yeah.
don't have to wear the wig all day. Like you can bring your curling iron or something. I don't know, but. It's a fun thing to do, and a lot of people don't. There's not a lot of venues where you can wear costumes. People don't realize you're not gonna be able to go to the Fillmore, and they're gonna make you take all that stuff off. I've been in that situation where I had face paint or something, and
They make you wash it off.
make you wash it off. And so here you can come, kind of just be yourself. It's a safe place for us to all have cool Halloween party. It's one of my favorite times of the year.
Yeah.
It's really always very close to my birthday. I think my birthday is the 28th, which is Tuesday. The last year before, I think it was actually on my birthday, which was really cool. But it's a cool thing because even as a big Halloween fan, I'll tell you, there's not many other Halloween parties I know of going on. There's a couple. I call them spookiesies, but there's a couple of those going on. But this is a thing where it's just, you celebrate the music that you love, and then just,
Everyone's favorite holiday.
yeah, everyone's favorite holiday, yeah.
And you can bring the kids.
The community of it all, and we try to, it's not something that you're going to have to shell out a whole shit ton of money for. You can come see all this for $20.
Yeah. And we don't charge $13, $15, $20 for beers, by the way. Our beers are like $5 and $6.
Get some great drinks, get some, great beers, and it's an all day thing, I would.
We also started selling THCA products as well. So if
I was looking at that. I see it right there behind you.
Yeah. So we have. Why not?
That's what I've been sipping on.
We have lollipops. These are 62 milligram lollipops.
Good God.
We have 110 milligram Rice Krispie treats.
Oh.
Yep. And we have pre-rolls.
The fat boy in me is like,
two
that
to a
Rice
pack.
Krispie treat looks really good.
Right now we have the Black Sugar Rose Hybrid. It's 2 pre-rolls to a pack. Each pre-roll is a gram each. And all of this THCA product, the reason I started bringing it in is because it is a local guy. It's locally grown. Everything's on the up and up. There's nothing to worry about. And his stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
It's really, really
and
good
so,
stuff.
if you're not a drinker or you're, in the rooms of AA or something, and maybe you're a smoker still and you want to enjoy some THC. And it's
and we have seltzers. We have 10
it's
milligram
perfectly
seltzers.
legal.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. What kind is that?
Never
What is
thought
that
I'd
called?
see the day, man. I can't believe it.
Strawberry.
I was making jokes. I was making jokes. Here I am 25 years later. I'm back to selling weed again.
Yeah. And,
What's going on?
it's such a great thing, in time where, and it's healthier. I know people, I could argue that, but it's healthier, and it's, that you can come out, wears off in 3 or 4, you're good to go. And it's cool, man. It's cool that we're to that place as a society. They say this country is, people can shit on it all they want to, but there's some couple
Still
cool
the
things,
best place in the world.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Still
Yeah,
the
I mean,
best
like we got THCA products now, so we're not that bad, But yeah, this whole thing, it's a great thing, and I'm super excited to do it for the 7th year. I didn't even imagine a fucking 5th year or 4th year or anything past the first one, when we started doing it. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing. And to be able to come.
It's just been really, really fun for me to have been just, I went to the second, third, and fourth in the backyard, and to just be a fan who I just happened to see it on Facebook and was like, oh, that's right down the street from where I live. Oh, let me go check this thing out. Took my wife and daughter, got to meet some metalheads. It's where I met the majority of all of these people that I book shows with now. Yeah. It's where I met most of them, was at those backyard headbangers balls. And it's to go from being a fan to being like the venue that hosts it. That's fucking awesome, dude. You know what I mean? It feels really cool.
It is, man. And it's a tradition that we've tried to keep as close as possible, there's always the question of like, well, you bring a national headliner and this,
that's not what we're doing.
No, it's not, and it's not, and I think that, of course I would do that for like, maybe a different festival or something like that in the future. And I've never, ever ruled that out. But for this in particular, it's just about a celebration for the community.
Yeah, this is all about family, the metal family we have here in the Carolinas.
It is, man. And I think that, celebration of local business, local venues, of local THCA products, this is the spot, you know. I mean, and I'm grateful that it's still going on, and it is just as viable as it was, and it's still, I still have just as much fun, It's something for me to look forward to every year, Like it's something that I think before all this, I didn't really have a lot to do in October, I'd go to the haunted houses or something like that, but it gave me something more like, I guess, that applied to me, more that was more metal. It had all the
personal
things, all the elements that I like wrapped into one thing, And I think this year's going to be one of the best. I probably said that about last year. I probably said that about the year before and the year before that. But in my mind, I know that we have a stellar lineup, stellar bands, great attitudes, great venue. I think it's going to be a great time. And I would just encourage people, hey, listen, come out, make some friends, meet your future wife, maybe, or boyfriend or whatever, and make some friends, I mean, this is how the local scene's really what availed me to like so many different things over the years, I mean, I've met so many great people, and it's really given me the life that I have now, even met my current girlfriend probably through the local scene in some form, and I think that, it's going to be a fun event, and I'm excited. I'm nervous, there's always that, like, the weeks leading up to it,
dude. That's my baseline.
It's always,
I stay in that space.
Yeah, you always have that pit of anxiety, going into it. And then usually the day of, it's just like, it's fucking go time. Let's do this shit, and everything just falls back into place and just goes really smooth. And I don't know. I'm excited for everyone to see the talent. And
we can't, like, it's not lost on me that we can't do this without you, the fans, the people that love this music, the people that buy the tickets, that come and buy the drinks. So let's make this year the biggest one yet, man. Let's pack this place out.
I think we can.
Forget what you might think about me or my club. This is about the community. This is about the metal community, heavy music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. It's about there's certain cases where some people I don't see, except for this time of year.
Yeah.
And it's always something I always look forward
to. We should give like a prize away to whoever comes the farthest. Like whoever drives the farthest to get here. We should make that a thing.
Yeah, I think that could definitely work,
Yeah.
I mean, something that, and over the years it has been that too as well, I mean, I think that, you'll get what you get from Gastonia, and you'll get from, the surrounding. But sometimes it's like, whether it's my buddy Nathan from Greensboro, or this band's coming from Kentucky, or this, and I appreciate all the effort that these people put in, because it's not easy to make those trips, and to, it's a lot of time and effort that goes into it, man. But it makes all the difference, and it's something that, I'm forever grateful for, man, that people would, want to travel, even if you're traveling just from Charlotte, or you live in Gastonia, and you just come. I would say come down. I'd say if you're on the fence about it, maybe you're looking at the flyer and say, I don't know any of those bands. Well, there was one point in my life I didn't either. And I would say that, I took a chance on shows back in 2016 and started going to local shows. Said, oh, okay, well, this looks metal. Maybe it's Blackwater Drowning. That has to be metal. And I went out and I met some really fantastic souls and great people, and it's put me into where I'm at now with Headbangers and just the opportunities and stuff that I've gotten over the years. And really just met like people that a lot of people I consider family, and I would say, come out. There's always going to be a thing. Hey, listen, if you come out and you don't know anyone, you know me. My name's AJ Conde.
Yeah, you'll
All
know.
three of us are gonna be here.
Yeah, Michael, Ariel.
Yeah, come say hey to me. Come tell me to fuck myself. Whatever. Just come hang out. And like this, events like this epitomize what I'm trying to do with the Rooster.
Yep.
It's always it's been about community, building community, giving people a safe place to go, and just kind of just let's let go of all the outside stuff for a day or for a few hours, and let's be together. Let's share the thing that we love together. Jump in a mosh pit, shake hands, drink a beer, have a conversation. Just be cool.
Yeah, and that's
And it is, and it's such a safe spot. Even people sometimes are worried about mosh pits. There's plenty of great security people here, and we never had any issues.
No, we encourage the mosh pits. Just watch out for the kids. Let the kids.
Yeah, don't
thing.
like sidekick some kid in the head.
Yeah, don't roundhouse a 10-year-old.
10-year-old, yeah, they didn't do
worry,
anything
I'll
wrong.
be down there.
But the thing is it's one of those places where you can come, be comfortable, be yourself. Unapologetically be yourself, and have a great time and be accepted for that.
Yes, it's all love.
It is, and I'm grateful to you, Michael, for all the the continued opportunity to still carry on this tradition, and and we just take it to where we take it. Maybe it goes to year 10. Maybe man, we're sitting here, we're all gray.
Yeah.
And 20 years from now,
we'll be doing it in recline in the lazy boys.
Yeah, like
room,
wheelchairs,
in the nursing
and
home,
stuff like that, and we'll just take it, as long as people still get the enjoyment and people still show up and just have a good time, man. As long as everyone's having a good time, I think we continue to do this, and it's become a tradition that,
unlike any other.
Yeah, that eventually one day we'll look back and hopefully it speaks for itself. It says, I made some memories. I got married. I made some bad decisions there. Maybe, I don't know.
Somebody is still telling a story about how they took a shit in our bathroom floor the first week we were open.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Somebody's got that story
one
in their back pocket.
Yeah, somebody's gonna take that one to the grave.
October 25th, and make a story. Just don't shit in the floor.
Yeah, and if you did shit on the floor, fess up finally.
Let me know. At this point, I'm just not mad anymore. I just want to know who did it. I just want to know who did it. I want to give you the credit you deserve.
Yeah, really. Like get a picture on the bathroom wall.
Yeah, we'll take your picture. We'll put it right over the commode and be like,
first shit on the floor. Yeah, this was. Yeah, I think that that would be great. I hope somebody's.
I hope they do.
One of these days. I think about that sometimes at like 3 a.m. Like, who did that?
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
All right, before we wrap it up, are there any other shows you got coming down the pipeline you want to tell people about?
So there's a couple. We have a Judas Priest Unleashed tribute, December 6th here at the Rooster. And then also a couple days after the Headbangers Ball, October 30th, we have, it's not one of the Headbangers shows personally, but it's a good friend, my friend Cole with Crack Smile Studios. He has a really love for the 80s metal, the 80s hair metal. And he does great shit, and he's really just starting out. He has Enough's
The
enough.
it's Enough's Enough, Testarossa,
Permacrush,
and Prowess.
which Testarossa, fuck man, one day you motherfuckers are gonna play on the Headbangers Ball too, but they're not this year. They're playing October 30th.
Yeah, they're 5 days later this year.
Yeah, so there's that one, man, and I'm just excited to see all the cool things that Cole does with Crack a Smile Studios, and as far as that, and then like I said, the Judas Priest Unleashed tribute they have a brand new singer, Jace. I'm excited to see those guys here to get them to Gastonia, and hope that you will love them as well.
Go to the roostergastonia.com, click events, scroll to find the 7th Annual Carolina Headbangers Ball, buy the tickets, dress up. There's going to be a costume contest, bring the kids. It's going to be a great time. AJ, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's been fucking awesome as always, Michael. I love
Good
it,
times.
man.
Yeah, love you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Peace and love.